All right, let's turn our attention to the Nuggets.
Let's go.
The Nuggets? Who?
Here on a Wednesday, what is up, everybody? Welcome into the DNVR show, the DNVR Nuggets podcast. Let's go.
Let's
raise the vibes up here.
Let's
raise
go,
it up.
dude. This is a in-between day. This is a
Practice day.
Yeah,
it's an off day.
You practice the air. You don't use full air horns on a day like this. What are we excited
about?
Got
to conserve our air horn energy for the game tomorrow. We got a back-to-back too, so we really got to conserve.
Oh my God, that's
another back-to-back.
Of course we do. Why wouldn't we? Sweet. Why wouldn't we have 2 days off and then sandwiched by two back-to-backs? That makes exact sense.
We are presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Make sure to use the code DNVR when you sign up and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You see it there in the top right corner above me, cutting off Nathan McKinnon. Yeah, perfect.
Perfect.
We got a great show today. Vogt and I just came from Nuggets practice. We got a lot to discuss. Mike Malone spoke. We also spoke to two members of the Nuggets' current second unit, Vlatko Chanchar, Zeke Naji. Those guys had a lot of interesting things to say as well. So we will get into all those notes in 1 second. Let me introduce who I'm up here with today. I'm Harrison Wynn hosting. To my right, Eric Wienum. You know him as D-Line.
That's right, guys. I have to say, I am a little surprised. I am surrounded by two guys talking about the Nuggets wearing Avalanche gear.
That's right.
I don't think this has ever happened before.
I know. Right. I don't know how that happened. We pull up to Nuggets practice. I throw on this shirt. Vogt was wearing an Avs
old school Avs hoodie.
It's like, what's going on here?
I got to say, though, I love it.
Yeah,
listen, we're all about Colorado here, but I've just never seen this part. Unprecedented.
Yeah, that's Brendan Vogt in the far right.
Good practice today, Eric. I think you'll be thrilled to know sometimes these are in between days, but I think we got plenty to talk about. Some good vibes, some good insight into them Denver Nuggets.
Yeah. Let's start with what happened at Nuggets practice today. So Denver was in Minnesota, of course, the other night. They had an off day yesterday. Today, though, they got back to it. Didn't seem like they did anything heavy or a contact or anything live at practice today. But here's what Michael Malone had to say. I want to start with what he had to say about the Nuggets bench, because that's the biggest point of contention, I feel like, in Nuggets Nation, with us on the show. What is going on with the bench? How can the Nuggets fix their bench? Life is pretty good for Denver right now. I feel like the bench is kind of a first world problem, but it's one of the things that is going on with this team now that needs to be addressed. And Michael Malone had some interesting thoughts on it today. On the topic of just Jamal Murray with that second unit, Michael Malone said he sat with Jamal on the flight home from Minnesota and said he feels for Jamal right now because how he's playing him with the second unit, his minutes are so jumbled. You know, Jamal starts the game, then he comes out, then he comes back in and plays with the second unit. And Malone said he feels for him because he can sense that it's tough for Jamal to get into a rhythm with how jumbled his minutes are. But with that being said, the sense I got is that Jamal Murray is going to continue to play with the bench.
Right. He's just going to continue to feel for him.
He is. Maybe there will be some tweaks in terms of some of the rotation aspects of it, but the general sense I got is Jamal Murray will continue to play with the bench. And the biggest reason why is Michael Malone wants either Nikola Jokic or Jamal Murray on the floor at all times. What did you think about that declaration from Michael Malone today?
Well, it's a little bit amended, right? The previous version of it was we need to keep one starter on the floor at all times. And I think now it's whittled down, at least seemingly from this quote, today's practice, to Jamal or Jokic. And he did say that he thinks that Jamal Bones' unit, which has definitely struggled, has the makings of something effective because there's a dynamic scorer and pick and roll ball handler, playmaker. Two of them on the floor, and Bones and Murray, excuse me. He went on to say that Porter's
also... a lot of big words getting thrown around right now.
He also went on to say that Porter's dynamic too, but I think he feels a certain level of confidence with either Jamal or Jokic on the floor. I think that logic is easy to follow.
Sure.
There's just plenty of data to roll out that says, well, yeah, but it hasn't actually worked or manifested yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this is like a vestige of pre-Nuggets era where you wanted to have, like, it made sense to have Jamal on the floor all the time, or one of Jamal or Jokic, but like right now it's just Jamal is just still I mean, I don't know if we want to pull up the backometer. I don't know if he's fully back.
Are we ready to pull up the backometer?
But I mean, truly, like this was like a winning. It was just. I guess he's back? I guess he's back. Apparently, he's back. But the like back when Jamal would be on the floor, it was like he was extremely dynamic all the time. This is not proven to be the case for a lot of this year. Sometimes he is, sometimes he isn't. It like leads you into questions like, is he feeling healthy? Is he feeling like, is his fitness up? Mm-hmm. I think it can pay dividends. And so maybe that's the idea, is that you just stick with it because you've seen it work in the past and get it back up to that level. But it is a little curious at this moment, I feel.
Yeah. It does seem like they're going to stick with it, though. They're going to stick with Jamal Murray and the bench. It doesn't seem like the plan is to play Michael Porter with the bench. We saw that earlier this season.
He did say, we could go back to MPJ,
Sure.
but that was after a direct question
Sure.
and some prodding. I'm with you on the ultimate.
Yeah, everything is on the table, like always. But it seems like Jamal Murray with the bench is how they're going to continue to go. Aaron Gordon with the second unit, we saw that play really well against the Celtics. I think it's now pretty obvious they only really went to that because they were playing Jason Tatum and maybe because Jamal Murray missed that game.
Yeah.
But Mike Malone seems committed to the Jamal Murray stagger with the bench. But he did also say he knows it's on him to find ways to get Jamal Murray the ball more when he's playing with Bones Highland, because that's the toughest part of it right now.
Right, just wasted time.
Yeah,
wasted minutes.
it's been obvious these last couple of games when Jamal has played with that group. Too often, Jamal Murray's just standing in the corner while Bones Highland is going into pick and roll with Zeke Naji. And that's just like not a good usage of Jamal's minutes. We know that. I think Malone has seen that. And today he was like, look, I know I got to do a better job getting Jamal the ball when he's out there with Bones. Both those guys, they love playing, with the ball in their hands. They love initiating. They're both scorers, but they've got to learn how to share the ball better. I've got to get them to a point where, the ball was more equally distributed there. So I think just him recognizing that was a positive. But, I mean, I've been on record. I don't like Jamal with the bench. I think Michael Porter's a better guy to have staggered there, but it seems like we're going to continue with Jamal.
It also, that version of the lineup makes it pretty hard to play a particular player.
We'll get to him.
Okay. I'll leave that as a segue floating in
Yeah.
the,
We're traveling to a town.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's the biggest
Harry's
takeaway from those comments about Jamal with the bench. They're going to continue to try to play him with Bones Highland. Michael Malone thinks that can be a dynamic pairing, two scorers like that, because a big problem has been the bench unit just not being able to score. And in theory, Michael Malone thinks that Jamal Murray and Bones Highland together can alleviate that issue.
I'm all for the idea. I really am all for the idea in that, as I've stated, I believe the Nuggets have what they need, and it really is just about getting through this regular season into the playoffs at full strength. So I'm all for the idea of like doing everything we can to get Jamal Murray back to the place that we need him to be, that absolute killer mode, like back on par with the Donovan Mitchells and the Devin Bookers of the league.
That'd be nice.
That would be nice, wouldn't it? It would be nice if it were like, oh man, Jamal scored some obnoxious amount of points tonight, like his contemporaries and like the guys that he came into the league with and have really been compared to, and he's just not there right now. So I like this idea as long as it's not costing games, but it is irritating at this exact moment in time.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly follow the logic when he lays it out verbally. You just need to see it play out on the court a couple times for me.
Jamal Murray with Monte Morris worked great.
It's
a little different dynamic, though, when you're going from Monte to Bones Highland.
I would just say, so look, I think most of us are on the same page about changing it up, but it doesn't seem like he's going to. So the next place I would go to it, the bottom line is
Go
just
to acceptance.
get Bones off the ball a little bit.
Stage 2.
What can you do to, and Murray's usage is actually bizarrely high with that group. So it's not just the ball in his hands, but take shots. Find good shots.
Yeah, I mean, be
take
shot
good
ready.
shots.
That's the thing. That's what I mean. Like, okay, all right. Fine. That's what's going to be. Like, so let's make it worthwhile. Let's be shot ready. Let's dominate. Let's take the weakness of the bench, which is scoring, and like make it an advantage with Bones and Jamal. Let's get dynamic with this thing.
And it's not just been the lineup, like you said. A weird part about Jamal with the bench is just he's had a weird vibe to him.
Such a weird vibe.
These last several games.
Bizarre.
And especially the other night in Minnesota. Starts the game super, super passive. And then to open the third quarter, it's like, oh, wow, there's Jamal Murray again.
Yes.
Offensively, defensively, shot making, being aggressive. That start of the third quarter was like as locked in as he's looked all year, but it's just been a weird vibe. Jamal has said when he's been asked that he doesn't care who he's playing with. My theory, I'm projecting here, my theory is he doesn't like playing with the bench. I don't know that to be the case. That's just the vibe I get. That's just the read I get.
Not what he says, not what he would tell you.
He said he likes playing with everybody. He doesn't care, but that's just my read. I don't think he likes playing with the bench. But
I mean, like, imagine if you're like, you can either play with Nikola Jokic or Jeff Green. Zeke Naji. Those are your choices. Which do you prefer?
Yeah. But if he can just get to the level he was at to begin that third quarter for 48 minutes, that do a large part in just getting him back to where we think he can be.
No doubt. Yeah. No doubt. I really can't wait to turn the page, just to throw out the bacometer entirely and just be like...
That'd be a great day. Should we do a ceremonial burning of the bacometer?
I cannot wait to burn the bacometer.
Me too. I hope
it's the only show I'm looking forward
wait
to.
for a day when we never have to interact with the bacometer again.
God.
Be a great day.
Going back to Denver Stiffs.
Should we get to... the next portion here, should we go to Browntown?
Let's go to Browntown.
Oh, man, dude. We're hitting all the high hopes.
Should we go to Browntown?
Hang on.
Because another note from practice today, Michael Malone was in a great mood.
Great mood.
Oh.
He was in like the best mood I've seen him in all season.
Fact. Strong agree.
And I was going to ask him a question about Christian Braun, but he just brought it up himself.
Yeah, we were just saying, he's asking himself the tough questions.
Yeah, exactly. And... Michael Malone's quote on Christian Braun today.
Brace yourselves. You're not going to love it.
The context was he was talking about the bench and Jamal and Bones and how to get that group right. And he said his biggest challenge right now, Michael Malone's biggest challenge at this point in the season is finding Christian Braun minutes.
Where could they be?
Just the boogie gift.
Yeah, where are they?
He's searching far and wide. He's going into every crevice. He's turning over every stone.
Crannies.
He's searching and searching and searching, and that's his biggest challenge, is to find Christian Braun minutes. He said when we're fully healthy, it's just really hard, and that he actually feels bad because every time Christian Braun gets a chance, he plays really well, and he knows the minutes are so impactful for his development, and also just that he is a really good player.
That's
another point. But it's just tough. It's just tough to find him minutes when the Nuggets are fully healthy. It's the biggest challenge that he's facing now.
What to do?
Yeah.
Well,
has anyone pointed out that they're not fully healthy? Jeff Green hasn't played.
That's true.
That is
quite some time.
Valid.
I really thought that I agreed with the way Blackburn framed it after that injury, or right before that injury. I think it was after the Memphis game. Brown's probably your 9.5 guy. So if it's a 9-man rotation and someone goes down, you find Braun minutes. Of course, in that last game, that is not at all how it worked out.
Oh, man.
Where are you at with Browntown?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like,
I know it's exhausting.
It is exhausting. It's like, does it move the needle? Maybe it moves the needle. It's more just like we have a good play. We have a cool toy. We want to use we want to play with the toy.
You're wrong. He's not a toy. He's not a cool new flashy toy.
But we have.
That's not all he is.
It's not all he is. I don't mean to reduce the sprawling, beautiful metropolis of Browntown down to a simple toy, but I just mean. We have a player that we'd like to see play because he offers something that oftentimes we are deficient in, which is defense.
Yeah.
The Nuggets have been very successful with these very limited Browntown minutes. Like I'd like to see it. I can't get too upset about it until we really, really start to get to a place where we are floundering and we We need answers. We need a change. I just, I like him. I just know this is what it is to be a fan of a team that Michael Malone is in charge of. Like, there's a cool rookie that you want to see play, Michael Porter Jr., Bones Highland, name your rookie. And then we just spend all season being like, why are we getting minutes for rookie blank?
I think it's a little different than that because the Nuggets defense has been bad for most of this season. It has been bad, but
the results have been good. We have been successful because of Nikola Jokic.
Absolutely.
And we could be doing better. We could be I'm with you. Like, it's just I would like to see it. I don't know. I'm not as incensed about it as maybe others, I suppose.
Yeah. The reason I'm incensed about it is because I believe that Christian Braun is the Nuggets' best defender. I just do.
You're probably right.
At this point in the season, I think he's the best defender. I think he's a better defender than Aaron Gordon, Bruce Brown, KCP, whoever else you want to throw out there. I think Christian Braun is just Nuggets' best defender. And from that standpoint, I think when you have a team that has been as bad defensively as the Nuggets have been all season, you would pencil in that guy for minutes every single night, really regardless.
You look to fix the thing that's broken.
I think maybe part of the problem is the best way to do it is a 10-man rotation. And Malone, this is the year he seems committed to get away from that.
But why? Why is this the year? Michael Malone's the guy who, throughout his entire Nuggets tenure, has played a 10-man rotation. Why is this the year we're suddenly locked into a 9-man rotation? Now, I know the talent's there, but like, why this year?
Now, at the beginning of the year, the 5-man benches were horrendous, but I do think there are some different lineup combinations that have been discovered since. Bones plus 4 guys who can switch and play hard and play defense might work. Like, remember, it's not really about winning these minutes. It's basically treading water. And I think getting stops, playing well in transition and allowing Bones to play in space may allow them to do that. The only thing I would say is if he is committed to staggering, which for a long time many of us wanted here in Denver, it does make this part harder.
Yeah,
that said, the minutes do exist. Like, if he wanted to, they're there for him to manipulate.
Yeah, I mean, it's that Christian Braun is losing out minutes to Jamal Murray, to Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, to starters that are staying on the floor. Like, in years past, we had that like hockey switch where all 5 guys would go out. There was a defined bench. It was bench time versus starters time, and this is like we have it's the dynamic is or the lineups are a little bit more dynamic. It seems.
And you've got to give Michael Malone credit for mixing and matching more this year.
Yes, so I feel like that is the reason above all else that we're not seeing him. I just feel like his time is coming, and the Nuggets are not suffering for it.
Yeah, at least they're banking wins in the meantime.
That's what I mean. They're banking wins. How mad can I be? I mean, I could probably generate some anger. I store a lot of it inside, but I just don't have. I don't have a lot of it on the surface.
Do you store a lot of it inside?
Yeah, it's deep in there, but once it comes out,
yeah. I just look at the roster and who they've been playing. And your 2 guards off the bench right now are Bruce Brown and Bones Highland.
Yep.
And it just seems so obvious to me that Christian Braun can be your 3 off the bench if you're staggering Jamal Murray with the second unit.
This is like if I could take it to a football place with the Broncos with Jerry. What's his last name, Kale? What's the new Broncos coach? Ryan Rosberg. Saw in our tight end, Albert Okwuegbunam. Nathaniel Hackett didn't see value in playing him, and then immediately Jerry Rosberg comes in, and then Albert O is featured, and he scores touchdowns. He's super dynamic, and it's like, okay, why weren't we taking advantage of this guy? Michael Malone just doesn't, for whatever reason, it's very confusing. Christian Braun, again, seems to be like the tailor-made, the exact player that Michael Malone would create. I'm sure he sees himself in Christian Braun.
I'm sure he sees a little of himself.
But he's just a vets guy. He's like, at the end of the day, he's just a vets guy. He's going to play his vets. He's all about the locker room. He's all about the pecking order. He's all about the natural order of things. You got to earn your place. He's a military guy at heart. Like, he can't have the young guy come in and usurp the vet because then it saps the confidence of the vet. This is the stuff that Michael Malone does that it's hard for us to analyze. It's hard for us to understand because we don't really understand the interpersonal dynamics of the Denver Nuggets. And we just look at it like
that part's definitely true.
Yeah, right. So like there's a lot of this stuff that we, we talked about this ad nauseum with Michael Porter Jr. also. It's like if he takes away from Jermichael Green, which seems insane that you would take Michael.
Oh my God, not Jermichael Green.
But then you lose Jermichael Green. You lose leadership. You lose
the horror.
The horror. I don't profess to understand like how any of this stuff works because, like we work at a company and like sometimes people are mad about things and sometimes they're, somebody gets upset and then they become less effective. And this is something that nobody on the outside can quite factor. I believe that this is at the heart of why we're not seeing minutes for him.
I mean, there's a lot to that, man. There's a lot to that. And the only thing is just there are some teams and some coaches who have found room within their locker rooms
for sure,
and the cachet to just say, we're going to play the young guy. But I think those are all good points too. Like for as much as, the credentialed guys get to see, guys and gals, excuse me.
Oh, come on, Brendan.
I meant on this show, but I know it's the whole beat and there are gals on the beat. So guys and gals, but there are plenty of doors that we also don't get to go behind. So I ultimately still agree with Wynn's bottom line.
Me too.
That he should be playing, but I think you're right to bring up, there's things we just don't see and know.
I'm not even saying like I'm arguing in favor. I just think that I believe that is the reason.
Sure. Well said.
I just think that Michael Malone's been here for 8 years. He's coached Jamal Murray for a long time. He should be respected enough. He should have the pull. He should have the authority to be like, and I'm sure he does. But I mean, my big thing right now is like Jamal Murray plays too many minutes.
Yeah, you're right.
Like decrease Jamal Murray's minutes. I think Christian Braun is just a better defender than Bruce Brown. Like, lower Bruce Brown's minutes slightly, raise Christian Braun's minutes. So I think they'll get to it eventually, like we've all thought. It's just frustrating that we tend to hear the same thing over and over.
For sure. I feel like there will be another injury coming.
I'm sure.
And we'll get a heavy dose of...
I'm sure Christian Brown's going to play tomorrow night.
Maybe a consolidation trade
probably start.
We're getting towards that.
He'll probably be the 6th or 7th man tomorrow night. Who knows? Let's hit a break. On the other side, we'll get to some more notes from Nuggets practice. Vlatko Čančar compared Aaron Gordon to a Nuggets legend, or a guy I at least consider a Nuggets legend.
Dan Issel?
That's
right.
His
jersey is not in the rafters yet.
By the way, Dan Issel, the original Denver Horseman.
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of a fun angle that doesn't get pulled on a lot.
It never does.
Never does. You just pretend Jokic is literally the first person to ever pick. Listen, it's this time of year. What time is it? It's January 4th. What does that mean? Basketball season, winter, both apply. And the holidays.
Let's go, dude.
When I throw down on NBA action, it's got to be the DraftKings Sportsbook. You love it, dude. And I love to do it with DraftKings because DraftKings is an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can bet just $5 pregame money line on any NBA team to win their game. Get $150 in free bets. Get our pick of the week ready as well.
Oh, I've got it.
Oh, my man's ready.
But audience, listen to these key details before we get there because everyone could combine multiple bets for bigger payouts with DraftKings same-game parlays, including you folks in Maryland. Because DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in your state, the only state that likes to proudly display their flag as much as Colorado, Maryland. Get in on DraftKings Sportsbook. Use promo code DNVR when you sign up. Get $150 in free bets if your team wins when you place a $5 pregame moneyline bet. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code DNVR. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See those show notes for the details.
Let's go.
Let's also talk about pins and aces, fellas. Because, listen, when you golf, it's important to hit the ball well. It's more important to look good. You know what I mean? Like
couldn't agree more.
It's a fit off.
It's not. Oh, dude, it's not 1A, 1B. It's 1, and then about the 5th most important thing is hitting the ball well.
Yeah, that's right. And then the more important than that is making sure you have 7 beers on you on the golf course.
Yeah, that means the 8th most important thing is hitting the ball.
That's right. Not 6. It's 6 and 1, basketball fans, because the innovative beer sleeve allows you to fit 7 beers in your bag. And they've got a lot of sweet hats, golf bags, polos, lots of cool things you can try, wear, use. Look fly on the course with pinsandaces.com. Use code DNVR to receive 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com. Win. It's your turn. Hit us with a pick of the week.
What do we got?
DraftKings pick of the week. Nuggets are 6.5-point favorites over the Clippers.
Interesting. So Jokic threes is the pick of the week?
I'm just going to take the Nuggets minus 6.5. I think they beat the Clippers pretty easily tomorrow, actually. Kawhi PG, like those guys' statuses, I don't know. But I think the Nuggets are going to beat the Clippers pretty easily tomorrow night.
Let's go.
-6.5. DraftKings Sportsbook pick of the week. All right, we are back here on the DNVR Nuggets podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the code DNVR when you sign up and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Here's my last note on what Michael Malone said, and then we'll get to Vlatko Čančar. Aaron Gordon's shoulder. It seemed like he tweaked it, aggravated it in that game against Minnesota late. He kind of like went up for a rebound, grabbed it, looked like it bothered him, then went to the free throw line. Almost airballed the first free throw, then missed the second. Michael Malone was asked about it today. He said his shoulder is okay. Not good, not bad, okay. But that it seems like he's going to try to play through it.
So what is
just
that?
An update there.
Discomfort, pain, but no injury that's preventing it. I mean, he's cleared to play. He's going to play.
It seems like he's just going to play through whatever discomfort he's feeling there. Aaron Gordon, man. Shouts to Aaron Gordon for this season. He brings it every single night. He plays his ass off every game, and he's just like going to battle through anything, it feels like. Like that dude is a warrior.
He's played as hard as any Nugget all year, start to finish.
I think he brings it every night, like more so than any other regular player.
I agree.
I know. We should start calling him Iron Gordon.
I like it. I like it. We also spoke to Vlatko Čančar, Zeke, Najee. Vogt, do you want to take us through what Vlatko had to say at practice today?
Yes, I do. I do. Interesting stuff from Vlatko because I can't find my quotes. There we go.
Oh, that's interesting.
Were you focusing too much on the last game? He said, no, not that much, because we know we've got to play the Clippers and not Minnesota. In these early questions that were about today's practice, their upcoming opponent, the last game, Vlatko is a little short, very matter of fact.
Oh, he's all about business.
And Malone was too, to be honest. I don't think they're going to linger too much on that loss. They are ready to turn the page. Linger. Want to look at some stuff on the internet together? Yeah, so they know it's about turning the page and really focusing on themselves. That was emphasized again when asked for the points of emphasis against the Los Angeles Clippers. Vlatko said, focus on ourselves and win the game. Simple. And I kind of do think the Nuggets are in that phase right now, particularly at home, where if it's, like let's worry about our turnovers, our transition defense, playing the right way, we're probably going to win. And I agree. Is it tough game planning for teams like the Clippers? Because you never know when the stars are going to play. And obviously, that's where you start that game plan. And he said, yeah.
God, can you imagine being a fan of the
I know.
Los
I was
Angeles
going to
Clippers?
say, if we think we're annoyed by like the Nuggets bench and the second unit and the defense, just imagine your best players just never playing.
Just never.
How annoying that would be.
Like,
to
is Jokic
talk
playing
about.
tonight? You're like, maybe.
But if
Let's
you're the
find
Clippers, I feel like you just have no idea who your team is.
No.
What your team looks like when it's healthy, like how good you can be.
Seriously, like have they put on the floor a full squad even once this season?
I think maybe, but it's been like very few games, very few minutes.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, that is that was like the sexy pick coming into the season. Like
I think it's still kind of the sexy
you look at the lineup. You're like, man, they're pretty stacked, but it turns out they're stacked with broken glass. Man, nobody can stay on the floor ever.
I know. It would just be so frustrating because I feel like after every game, win or loss, your narrative is, well, Clippers played well tonight or they played poorly, but we still don't really know who this team is.
I feel like that would be every game.
Every game would just be the
hey, they
same
lost
thing.
it, but hey, listen, Kawhi wasn't out there, Paul George wasn't out there.
Yeah,
how
you
mad
can
we
excuse
be?
every loss, but also just like pump up every win. it would be a mess, man.
And I know, and the Clippers, it's like, and they've still found ways to win games.
But
and
we have Ty Lue.
and their guys are missing.
We have Ty Lue.
I think the Clippers actually. Brandon. I think the Clippers actually also are struggling with teams above 500 this year, but it's weird, man. Everyone goes, like, it's a hard team to figure out, and I think some people give them the benefit of the doubt because of that mystery, which I always find strange. Alas, Vlatko agreed it is hard to game plan because the whole scheme of offense changes. But like he said, it's about their foundation, building on that, focusing on them.
Exactly.
If they handle that, they are just fine. Mm-hmm. The question, look, I think enough players have kind of co-signed this, what I'm about to get to, in more than one way. Do you guys relax when stars are missing? And we've asked, like
I relax
when you're playing Phoenix and Devin Booker's out of the game. When you play the Lakers and Anthony Davis is out of the game.
I relaxed pretty hard when Devin Booker was out of the lineup.
Yeah, and Vlatko said, yeah, and I think, but like in a lot of different ways, the players have admitted to the various ways in which this team does take its feet off the gas sometimes. And he said, yeah, obviously, you're checking and you see a player averages 30 points. So when he's out, you think all of a sudden that's going to come down, that scoring. But this is the NBA. Everyone can play basketball. And we've paid the price for that mentality a couple of times now. Definitely we need to work on that. You shouldn't allow the easy losses. So that was interesting to hear him kind of admit it. It's not surprising. I think there are human nature elements to this that we've seen creep into a lot of good team seasons. But it's always interesting to hear a player kind of confirm that.
Vlatko's not afraid to say the quiet part out loud.
No, he's not.
I know.
He's such a good quote.
Dude, Vlatko's all
such
about
a
it
good
this
quote.
year.
Yeah.
Saying people are talking shit about the bench.
I know. That was great, man. That's one of my favorite quotes of the year so far.
I know he's got in theory, a long career as a pro here or overseas or hopefully here.
Probably
ahead of him.
here.
Probably
he's going to be
here.
the Nick Collison of the Nuggets.
He's
No
like
question.
I think he's earned like he's an NBA player. But I only say all this to say I think Vlatko might make a good coach one day when it's all said and done. But I hope to see him.
I don't
play
know
a
if
long
he's
career.
mean enough though.
That's a good point.
He
That's a good
could
point.
be our new trainer, though.
Yeah,
Just
there
get
you go.
everybody in the
Yeah.
take Felipe's job.
He told Wind recently that, he knows everyone talks shit about the bench and he's trying to change that narrative. I said, do your teammates share that awareness of the criticism and the desire to change it? And he said, obviously, it's not nice when people talk bad about you.
Sorry.
I agree.
Sorry about that, Vlatko.
That's on us.
I hope you didn't catch segment one.
I was
on
hoping he would just name us by name.
Yeah.
I was just hoping he would
He's
just
like, there's
call
some-
us out by name.
There's some journalists in Denver.
Yeah,
there's
they have
a-
this stupid post-game show. They sit on this set.
The short one
honestly-
thinks he's funny.
I would love that if just one time we would be acknowledged, even if it was just to say we sucked.
Yeah,
No,
I
Bruce
would
did.
take that in a heartbeat.
Bruce
Yeah.
did?
Bruce did earlier this year. We were
Bruce said
asking
we
him-
sucked?
Someone asked, no. He acknowledged us. Someone asked him about nicknames. He goes, I saw you guys were, but that's it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I can't believe that's what we got acknowledged for.
For
know.
a nickname?
Saying that Bruce Brown does not have a nickname.
That's
our claim to fame amongst the
that's
Nuggets
our
players
imprint
right
on
now.
the actual Nuggets.
Yeah, that's what they know of us. We're the show that said Bruce Brown does not have a nickname.
I mean, to be fair, that's about what we are, but still, just call us out by name, please. Tell us we suck.
We're not as good as the starters, obviously. Vlatko continued about the bench, but I wouldn't be surprised if our bench could maybe start for other teams. So
I gotta call bullshit on that.
Yeah, that's just one of those quotes.
Yeah, like a team that was trying to get in the Wimbiana sweepstakes.
Yeah.
Who has the worst starting five in the NBA? Do we think?
The Houston Rockets.
Houston. No, I'm just kidding. It actually might be. No, it isn't. It's not Houston.
I just hate Jalen Green so much.
While Win
no,
looks
the-
that up, I'll continue with Vlatko. I asked him, are you getting closer to discovering what works for you and sustaining that? And he said, at the start of the year, the rotations were crazy. But I feel like with the second unit, we started to understand our roles. We understand who is the main guy in the second unit and just help him. Now, in answers that he later gave, it became clear to me, I think he means the starter that's staggering when he says that main guy. Possibly Bones as well. I did not follow up. DeAndre Jordan creeped up behind him. We asked him about DeAndre Jordan. Vlatko said, he's still a big, clumsy ass.
I will say
Did he
this
really say
about
that?
Yeah.
God damn it, I love Vlatko.
He has
Is
said that
Vlatko
twice
Mr.
about
Nuggets?
DeAndre Jordan now. But the thing that the bench, I guess, does have going for it is there's at least been some continuity as of late.
Yes.
In terms of who they've been playing.
And don't you think that's helped?
Maybe. I always thought it would help, and I think Michael Malone thinks it will help. But like in the end, if the combinations just don't work, they don't work.
Yeah.
But at least Vlatko's been in the rotation every game. Zeke has gotten consistent playing time. I think we have a better understanding of Zeke now than we did a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Bones has gotten consistent playing time. Jamal's been with that group. So even for as poor as they've played at times, they've at least gotten the continuity that they would need to move in the right direction if they're going to move in the right direction.
I think what Vlatko said there was kind of revealing to me, like, okay, there's something to build on here from lately.
Yeah.
We know who we're playing with, who each other is, and what
Yeah,
our
I
roles
agree.
are. What our roles are. Also, does it change depending on who staggers? Because we've seen that change plenty. He says it doesn't really change for the role players. We know our place at this point. It's just about helping the starters and the main guys succeed. Here's the big one. Wind asked, Vlatko about Aaron Gordon's chemistry with Jokic. Vlatko paused before saying, honestly, it's been fantastic.
Ooh.
The last guy I saw this close, and he means on-court chemistry, this close with Joker was Gary Harris.
Oh.
Mr. Harris?
Mr. Harris?
Aaron understands.
Is Gary Harris in Mr. Nugget?
Great quote here
yes,
that I
he
think
is.
it well encapsulates what's going well for AG this season. Aaron understands how he gets himself into the game without dribbling, wasting too much energy. If he gets a couple of easy baskets, then the pull-up threes are going to come, the transition threes, the post-ups, the stuff like that. But it's hard for a basketball player to just wait for the ball to shoot. He's figuring it out. This is like his best season, especially because he's on a winning team. Win followed up, what does Gary have that AG does? And Vlatko said, I think it's just the feel. Obviously, I notice he watches a lot of film, and then he just reads the game really well.
That's a big time endorsement.
That is a big time. I liked how you were saying things that Wind said, and Wind is right there. And he could have said it, but you said it about what Wind was saying.
It's a big time quote from Vlatko, who obviously.
When you put it like that, maybe we could have had Wind read.
You could have said, I
was there too, Eric. Go ahead, Harrison.
No, I think it's a valid point. I think it's a valid question.
No, it's dude. That's awesome.
It's a big time quote.
That's huge, and I think it's obvious. I mean, I don't know that to me, the more surprising part is that he hasn't seen it with anybody since Gary Harris. I mean,
but Gary was at such a high level.
But the crazy thing is that he didn't say Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, the most deadly two-man game in the league. The two guys that we look to that they're peanut butter and jelly. And he's saying that the guys that have the best chemistry are Gary Harris and Aaron Gordon. That is interesting to me.
I wonder if what he means too is, Jamal is at his best a more dynamic player and can kind of be himself and exist outside of the Jokic gravity universe.
Yeah.
Whereas like AG and peak Gary, that was it 2017, 2018? I can't quite remember. Whichever year he was the best.
2016, 17, 2017, 18.
There you go.
Yeah.
That
2 years.
That version of Gary and this version of AG may have figured out as well as anyone how to maximize themselves through Jokic's presence.
I think that's it.
Okay, you got to bring that comment up. Now Murray is peanut butter and jealous.
So I think that's what he means. And that Gary was a guy. Comment. Gary was a guy who had to figure out. Yeah, he got on ball eventually. We saw the pocket passes flashing, but for a lot of it, it was, can you be open the corners? Are there timely backdoor cuts? Are you ready for the DHOs when he looks at you? But there will be some sitting and waiting.
Yeah.
And AG's had to be that as well. So there are a lot of Gary similarities there.
Yeah, I think it's that because like Gary became a great player because he understood how to play off of Nikola Jokic.
Yes.
Gary Harris was the first Nuggets player who really understood that, hey man, if I run a DHO with this guy, we can get anything we want.
I can just cut to the rim.
I can get a layup. We'll get an open basket probably somehow off of it. And Aaron has realized that, like, I can get so many easy buckets, and we as a team can get so many easy buckets when I'm playing the right way off Nikola Jokic. I just think it's clicked for Aaron in the same way it clicked for Gary.
Totally.
And I got to think that's what Vlatko's getting.
I know. We
there.
need to have one of the, like, the shaking hand graphic.
Yeah.
Gary Harris, Aaron Gordon.
Mr. Nugget.
Becoming amazing with Jokic and disappearing in Orlando.
Wow.
That was great.
There's so much similarity there.
Maybe that's what he means.
Dude, I saw, Gary doesn't get to play a ton, but makes a good amount of money, and he's like, always seems to have a smile on his face. One of my favorite tweets ever, someone tweeted their Instagram DMs with Gary, and it just said, like, why are you always smiling, my guy? And Gary just wrote, life's good, my G. And I feel like Gary is... life is good, and Gary seems to get that. He's a happy guy.
It's almost as if there's a whole nother layer outside of the NBA. But to be frank, I don't care. I only care about what's happening in the NBA. Yeah. And if his life is good, but he's not playing well, then I would rather he frown.
I think it's more fun though to be playing well on a winning team, as we can tell via AG's smile since he's been here.
If you're in the NBA, your life is already elevated to a certain point.
Oh, in that everyone on earth is like looking to lay down flowers
Yes.
at your feet, and you
Yes.
have to walk on eggshells. And
Yes.
if you look at them in the eye, you get taken into the back room
Yeah.
and beaten. Yeah, that's like a whole different thing.
And usually you can't go
Hate when
below
that
that certain threshold,
Right.
but you can go way above it.
Oh yes,
And Aaron Gordon right now is just way above it.
oh, he's way above. Yeah, he's like, I'm rich. I guess I'm gonna buy a toy fun factory to live in, and I'm gonna play off of Nikola Jokic, and I'm gonna become an all-star.
Oh,
Jokic
and Serbia are playing in Europe, in Prague. Yeah,
You know what that is?
I'll stop in.
Pop in.
You know what that
Yeah,
is?
just little popping.
That's a fellow who knows a little more about the Mr. Nugget competition than he lets on. That's my theory.
You think? I don't think there's any way Aaron Gordon knows about
There's
Mr. Nugget.
0%.
He actually doesn't know about that at all, but I do think he was picking up on, man, these fans love me. I'm going to Serbia.
I think he just went for the love of the game.
I think he was just visiting somebody, and it happened to be where he was.
Actually, that's the reason.
Otherwise, he would have gone to other games, but he didn't. Anyway, go ahead.
Fine, Eric. Should we do an ad read since this isn't fun anymore?
You got anything else from Vlatko?
No, that's it. That's it. But I
Okay.
thought good stuff from Vlatko. Plenty to talk about today, plenty to think about. Vlatko, I would just say that over the years, there was a time where it's still going. One of the last people you can talk to about Yoke is Yoke. It can be kind of hard.
Yeah.
One of the best people you can talk to is Vlatko. And I've learned that extends beyond just Jokic. He's really a guy with a good perspective on the team, his teammates in general. One site that we're friends with, partners with, has a great perspective on how to get your butts in your favorite seats in your favorite arenas, and that's Game Time, the hottest new ticketing app. Game Time knows that there are two parties of people in this world. There are people who have decided not to go to the game at the last second, and there are people that have decided they would very much like to go to the game at the last second.
Man.
That second group should get in touch with the first group
How would they
via
do
Game
such a
Time.
thing?
It's the Game Time app. The first group's posting, hey man, I'm not going to make it. Look at these seats. Look at this price. It's ridiculous.
Wouldn't it
You
be
should jump
awesome
on
if
it.
every Game Time ticket came with like an explanation of why they weren't going? Like, it's a birthday party.
My wife and I are fighting.
I forgot there was a game tonight.
Yeah, but you can get yourself in great seats for Nuggets games, for concerts, for a lot of stuff in Denver via Game Time. So join over the 15 million people that have joined Game Time by buying your tickets through the link in the show description. Kale is highlighting it for you there. It's on YouTube. It's also on the podcast. So you see your podcast notification come through, pull it down, find the description. We put a lot of fun stuff in there for you. What's more fun than seeing the Denver Nuggies via Game Time? While we're on the topic of Nuggets-related things.
Sure. That's his whole
That's
show.
what we do on this show.
That everything is that. Yeah.
While we're talking about things that may or may not be about the Nuggets.
Okay. Yep.
I also just happen to want to point out there's something cool coming from Breckenridge Brewery.
Ooh.
It's a
very
little
cool.
tease.
It's a little bit something you've seen before, and then something new as well.
Yeah, like a
Something
wedding.
old, something new.
Yeah.
Something borrowed. Something.
Here's what I would suggest.
I hope nothing's borrowed.
In the meantime, just use the Breckenridge Brewery beer locator. For the beers you already know about and want to try, punch them in. It'll tell you where to go. But keep your eyes glued to Breck Brew socials, to our socials, because an announcement is coming soon regarding the delicious, delicious beer, the official brewery of DNVR
I'm going for like 7 or 8 burgers right now.
right now.
There's 4 right here on the
All right,
table.
you guys talk. I'm going to drink these 4.
Have you ever had these whiskey aged stouts when they're like room temp?
Oh,
tough.
dude.
I can't drink those whiskey
It's
aged
tough.
ones.
I might do it right now, though.
Not my cup of tea. All right, we're back here on the DNVR Nuggets podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the code DNVR when you sign up and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. The only other thing I've got from practice is Zeke Naji was wearing Nikola Jokic's shoes.
Yeah.
Like,
Not
that
his
he stole from
actual
his
shoes.
locker?
No,
Oh,
he
okay.
did not steal them, but just the
guess, though.
Joker shoe, like with the Joker logo on it.
Is that available for purchase?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not. It's not available to the public. But it turns out,
That's such a flex.
here's a little wind chime. Zeke Naji is the only player on the Nuggets who has and wears Nikola Jokic's Joker shoes.
Interesting.
He's the only guy that reps the back-to-back MVP shoes.
Is okay. couple questions. How readily available are these to those who seek in the NBA? The other players.
I think, from what I've gathered, if a player on the Nuggets wanted to wear those shoes, he could get them and wear them himself.
Okay, so how many other players have shoe deals in place, if not their own, that they require? So Jamal Murray is with New Balance.
Every player on the Nuggets, I think, and I'd say like pretty much every player in the NBA has some sort of shoe deal where they're with a Nike, an Adidas, a New Balance.
So
they have to wear that brand.
Are we to assume that Zeke Naji is with Nike?
Yes.
Okay.
I would assume that.
How many people are with Nike on there? I just want to know.
Most people.
I want to know who to be mad at. Which players on the Nuggets I need to be mad at for refusing
Probably
to rep the MVP?
Another big man.
Oh my gosh, DeAndre Jordan.
By the way, I think I've seen Michael Porter Jr. wearing non-Pumas lately.
I've seen him wearing Nikes too. Yeah.
Really?
He's not with Puma anymore.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'll have to ask.
I'm not sure.
Because I know the chat's just dying to know.
I'm not sure. But yeah, I think Zeke is the only guy who wears the Joker shoes.
Interesting. Very
Any
interesting.
other questions you have about that?
Let's see. Who didn't? How can I get a pair? That's the
I
real
don't
question.
think you'll be able
cannot.
to.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
You're gonna have to back.
Well,
channel this
that wraps up all of my questions.
You're gonna need your Serbian girlfriend to know someone.
Christina's in the chat, please.
Christina.
She
I'm
probably
a
has a
size
better
10.
chance at getting them than you or I.
No question there. Absolutely
Oh,
no
for
question
sure.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I want to move on and bounce around the league a little bit because, guys, there's
ATA?
some drama in Minnesota. The Timberwolves are flying high. They just beat the Nuggets. The vibes are better there now than they've been for most of the season. But there is some drama, Kale, if you want to get to that tweet I sent you. It appears that D'Angelo Russell, he retweeted a cryptic Fred Van Vliet quote that said, "Bet on yourself" from 2016. That's when this tweet from Fred Van Vliet went out.
D'Angelo Russell was that deep into Fred Van Vliet's tweets? 2016?
Listen.
And then D'Angelo Russell unfollowed the Timberwolves on Instagram.
Whoa.
This is the best news Wolves fans have woken up to in a long time.
Dude, I love this portion of the NBA history with everything could be. We can draw wild conclusions. We can speculate recklessly.
And it always heats up as we're heading towards the trade deadline. It seems like more and more players show their hand on social media as we get closer to the trade deadline.
But you never know if it's just simply a bargaining tactic.
You never know.
Or if they're actually...
What does it mean?
What is going on?
What
in
is
Minnesota?
going on Twitter?
You know what's crazy? I was thinking about this, and we have talked about this over the years. But how little of this we've seen in Denver in the last 5-6 years.
A big portion of that is that most of the Nuggets don't use social media.
Including their best player.
No, but I'm saying,
especially
no, there's
the
no
best
doubt, but I'm saying, that can be a double-edged sword. We all want to know these guys more access, et cetera, but there can be a benefit to the way that Denver just is never talked about because
The Nuggets don't leak a lot of stuff.
No.
They don't let a lot of stuff get out.
But also drama doesn't seem to percolate in any sort of public way. No. And so even if stuff happens, it happens internally and then like dudes like us don't get to really giggle about it so much.
Right.
Dude, the only time Jokic has been involved in anything social media wise is when his brothers created an account just to threaten Marcus Morris.
That is a fact.
They did do that.
And that was one of the greatest times I've ever had on social media.
No doubt.
I think they did a total of 3 tweets and then deactivated their account.
Legendary stuff.
It was a great move.
And
it
I
was
love that
just
they had
perfectly executed.
I love that they had one account in the same way your parents would have one email address between them.
I know. It was great. Yeah. No, I mean, you're right, Vogt. There's not a lot of that type of drama with the Nuggets. And when there is, it's quelled and it doesn't get out. Like, look, there are guys on the Nuggets of past teams who have demanded trade requests that you just don't hear about publicly because the Nuggets just don't let that stuff get out.
That's right.
That happens with every team. Like a lot more guys demand trades than you would think. A lot of guys lower down on the roster demand trades than you would think.
And like also we use the word demand trade and I think there's probably a lot of middle ground in terms of conversation.
Yeah, or just like ask to be traded.
Dude,
that's probably a better way to put it.
There are days I wake up, I'm like, I gotta be traded. I can't do this today. But then nobody listens, and then I just keep doing my job.
Yeah.
I think that probably happens a lot where you wake up, you're like, man, I gotta talk to Mike on the plane. I gotta let him know. I need more minutes. You gotta trade me. And he's like,
No doubt.
no to both. And you're like, all right, well, I'm on a contract.
I'll F off. Okay. Yep. I'm not Anthony Davis, so I heard what you said to me.
Going back near the bathroom.
What was my row? Is it 17?
Yeah. But tying this back to Minnesota and D'Angelo Russell unfollowing his team on Instagram, which is probably nothing, but might be something.
Is it
Dude,
something?
that is a full bargaining tactic. We've seen this. When you saw the quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray pull this move. He unfollowed the Cardinals. Everyone was like, oh, and then he just signed a big contract.
So I should unfollow DNVR Nuggets.
Yes.
And then we could have a whole show
and
about
we're like,
it. That can be our Saturday or
he cleared his
Monday
bio.
show.
Yeah,
and we're like, is Vogt demanding a trade? But the subject would just be like, who are we replacing him with?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Tim Connolly, he made a really bad trade for Rudy Gobert.
The worst.
But a worse decision might have been thinking that you can advance deep in the playoffs with D'Angelo Russell.
I would push back by saying I don't know if it's fair to call that a decision.
Yeah, this is, dude, like,
I would say maybe possibly just wondering out loud, given the way his season's gone, is there maybe just no market for D'Lo?
Well, I'm sure there's not a great market.
I would say that's probably the hang-up.
My favorite part about everything that we do.
Everybody's tradable, though.
But my favorite part about all this that we do is that, like, after a three-day period of something going good or bad, we just make declarations. We're like, well, he's bad now. It's over. Like Tim Connolly, for example. This is he had one offseason where he showed up, didn't even have the full offseason, if I remember correctly, and then made a trade that clearly was not all his decision. But now it's like, well, it's over. I mean, it's over for Tim. And
that's the name of the job. You get attached to that.
It'd be like, it'd be like judging Tim Connolly based off of that first season where he got that scathing article written about him that he didn't understand how to be a GM.
Yeah.
Or after the Tyler Lydon season, where like, man, this guy does not know what he's doing, and it turns out he's probably the best GM ever for the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I thought to wrap up here, we could actually go down the list of teams, just gaze over the standings, and we can decide who actually feels good about themselves at this point in the season. Because Michael Malone even talked about this a little at practice today. The league is so insane right now. There's so much mediocrity. I don't know how many teams' vibes are actually like good right now.
Totally.
The Boston Celtics are at the top of the East.
I love
They lost by 30-something points to the Thunder last night.
But
their vibes are not good.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander killed it, right?
He didn't play last night.
Oh, he didn't even play. Wow.
He didn't even play. They got killed by Josh Giddey.
Did you see why they lost, though, according to Jaylen Brown? It's actually because they're so good.
Yeah, they're so good that everyone plays.
Oh, I thought it was because the rims were tilted.
No, this time everyone's giving them their best shot now.
Yeah.
So that's why they're losing, because they're so much better than other teams. So that's why they're losing to other teams.
Who in the West right now do you think has good vibes?
New Orleans.
I agree. New Orleans.
Memphis does. Just
I agree. Memphis.
Memphis has artificially inflated vibes because they do their dance every time they come out.
I think Denver too. Like if that last Minnesota loss isn't the freshest thing taste in our mouths, like if we're coming off that Boston win, you would definitely throw Denver in that group.
I think the Nuggets have good vibes right now.
I would
absolutely.
I think the vibes are up in Denver.
Yes. Dallas, vibes are good. They were bad. They're good now, though, I think.
Dude, it takes 1 week.
They're on a 7-game winning streak.
It takes 1 week to completely reverse the vibes of any team.
Absolutely.
You just need a good week of like solid wins and, you know, complimentary play, things going the right way. And it's always, I mean, like our vibes everybody went into the toilet just losing to Minnesota on a back-to-back in a game that no team would win in the NBA. This is what it is. But I would say overall the Nuggets have great vibes.
Yeah. Another team I think has great vibes in the West, the Sacramento Kings. 5th seed, they're lighting the beam still. 6-4 in their last 10. And the only other team that I think has somewhat decent vibes that's like in playoff position is the Trailblazers, simply because they just got Gary Payton, the second back, and now can tell themselves that we have another level to go to because we got him back.
I will never be able to. I can never get over him being referred to as Gary Payton II and not Gary Payton Jr.
It throws me off big time.
I've never heard of the second.
I like saying GP2 though.
GP2?
GP2.
Not GPJ? What do we to call him? Michael Porter II. That would suck.
But I think that's just that's just a little taste of the mediocrity out there right now. Even like, they're just not everybody in the playoffs has good vibes right now.
No,
it's tough out there.
It's a long
There's
season,
a lot
man.
of just bleh out there.
Oh, Brooklyn probably has the best vibes in the league right now.
They do.
But isn't
12-game winning streak. They just always have to think about what's coming around the corner.
Yep. So I think.
What will Kyrie Irving watch on YouTube tonight? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. So Boston's trending down, but they're still like they gave themselves such headroom. Like they're also probably going to get through whatever this phase is. So I think they're right up there. Milwaukee's, I think, a big question mark this year. I mean, they're obviously very good. The question is, how very good are they compared to how good they've been in the past? So,
yeah.
The West, to me, though, man, I think we expected the Clippers and the Warriors to have a bigger say in things so far, and the Clippers are this weird kind of non-team, and the Warriors, even if you fear them, they're just not. They're not in the thick of the conversation. So it's just the West just feels so wide open because of that, and that's a treat for Denver, for New Orleans, and Memphis, who I think every member of that fan base should feel like it's wide open.
Absolutely. Fun show today. Thanks for tuning in, guys. The Nuggets have the Los Angeles Clippers here Thursday. That's on TNT. Then they've got a back-to-back. The Cavs also come to town. That's Friday. So should be a pretty fun couple games. Should tell us a lot about this team. Can't wait for these next two games. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow. Nuggets host the Clippers pregame show. Postgame lounge will be here for all of it. Talk to you guys then.
Let's go.